get you anything? You okay? Okay. How many space geeks are here? All right. Let's see if we can get the last few on board in the next 5 minutes. So, 2015, the space industry had some incredible successes, like New Horizons giving us our first spectacular look at Pluto, finding a world that was active and unlike anything we thought we'd see. We also had some spectacular failures. In 2015, all 3 of the rockets we used to get to the International Space Station exploded. Thankfully, nobody was hurt in these accidents, but a lot of people lost expensive cargo, in some cases more than once. When bad things happen in this industry, some of us like to say, space is hard, or if you're tweeting in Latin, ad astra per aspera, to the stars through adversity. We say this in solidarity. We do gloat when things go well, but we're all in this together when they don't. We know that it could have just as easily been us having a bad day, and sooner or later it happens to everybody. But this last year, there was some surprising backlash. Somebody wrote an article saying that space is hard as a cop-out, an excuse to accept the status quo. And the author asked, why after 50 years is space still hard? When I saw this, I was offended. Obviously, this person doesn't know the vast amounts of dedication and hard work that go into a space mission. But then I thought, that's actually an interesting question. So tonight I'm here to tell you why, even after 50 years, space is hard, and why that's a good thing. And you know, I get it. If you look at the first 50 years of aviation, we went from the Wright brothers to jet airliners. So why are we still using rockets to get to space? Well, it turns out that rockets are a really good way to get to space. To get to space, you only have to go 60 miles up. But if you want to stay there, you have to go 18,000 miles per hour horizontally. This takes a monstrous amount of energy being expended very quickly, and rockets are really good at that. The fundamental reason that space is hard is that the laws of nature are not in your favor. Like, take the rocket equation. What it says is that if you want your rocket to go a certain speed, it's going to have to start out with a certain percentage of fuel. The rest of it can be, engines, the structure, kerbals, whatever. On a full tank of gas, your car is about 4% fuel by weight. An airplane's around 30%. A rocket is 85% fuel. The remaining 15% has to structurally support all that, accelerate it to 18,000 miles per hour, not explode. And the thing is, you can't magically change that number. I love it when people say that Elon Musk should invent a new way of getting to space, like he's got new laws of physics in his back pocket. They're called laws for a reason, people. But there's a lot of room to color within the lines, and every new material, every new manufacturing technique, every new analysis method leads to a better rocket. The question is, are you going to use these new things or stick with what you know works? Designing a rocket is a balance between performance, safety, and cost. The more performance you have, the more cargo you can loft, and the bigger the paycheck you bring home. But safety is important. Nobody wants to put their cargo, or especially themselves, on explodey rockets. So we're in this situation where there's these old companies that they're sticking with the tried and true stuff. And then you have these new companies that are embracing all these new technologies. And as we know, new technologies can bite you in the ass. You remember that pretty airplane I showed you earlier? That's the de Havilland Comet, the first commercial jet airliner. They started mysteriously dropping out of the sky, and it took investigators a long time to figure out that it was metal fatigue that was causing these crashes, something they didn't expect. And it's going to be like this with the new companies. It's going to take them time to learn these lessons, in a lot of cases the hard way, and in some cases at great cost. But the good thing about space is hard is it means we're willing to accept risks to move forward, and we're learning these lessons. Commercial space is the first step to opening up the next great economy, and could even help relieve some of the stress we're putting on our own planet if we have the vision, the fortitude, and the apparently internet billionaires to help us get through these pioneering years. I've only scratched the surface tonight, but I can tell you from experience that working on a space mission is the hardest job you'll ever love. And as you've heard, a lot of work goes on in Boulder. And if you want to help, there's something very simple you can do. If you see somebody in a bar and they say they work in the space industry, buy them a drink. There's a lot of days when they really need it. And remember that when they make this look easy, that's when they're working their hardest. Thank you.